السادة فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب الذين يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا وعلى جنوبهم ويتفكرون في خلق السماوات والأرض ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا سبحانك فقنا عذاب النار. آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. My dear brothers and sisters, let me begin first of all by again thanking you for allowing me to commemorate in these important nights with all of you. It is my honor and my privilege. I want to also offer that inshallah I'm still here for another week. So if anyone has questions, especially the young people, after the majlis, during the day, I am here at your service, anything. And this is extended to the sisters, the ladies as well. That if you have questions or you would like to discuss something, I am here, inshallah. And in any capacity, if I can ever assist or help, please don't hesitate. I begin, inshallah, tonight with Imam Hussein alayhi salatu was salam standing on the ground of Karbala. Al-Imam al-Hussein, in those moments, once he had arrived on the second night into Karbala, he was with his companions. The army of Umar ibn Sa'ad la'natullahi alayh had gathered, and Imam Hussein, it's reported, he spoke. He said, إن هذه الدنيا قد تغيرت وتنكرت وأدبر معروفها. This dunya, the life of this dunya has changed. And it has shown a deceitful face. And everything that is ma'roof, when you say ma'roof, the Quran even mentions ma'roof, it's everything that is upright, everything that is proper. All of that, Imam Hussein has moved away. He says, ألا ترون أن الحق لا يعمل به وأن الباطل لا ينتهى عنه. Do you not see? He says this. He says, do you not see that people are not upholding and acting on the truth? And that the batil or evil or wrong is not being denied in any way, shape, or form. No one is fighting against evil, against the batil. He says, لَيَرْغَبَ الْمُؤْمِنْ فِي لِقَاءِ اللَّهِ مُحِقًّا. He says, when that happens, when the haqq is not being defended and lifted up, and the batil is not being pushed down and rejected, he says, the believer will be justified to want to go meet Allah. Subhanallah. The mu'min will be justified in wanting to go meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be reunited with Allah, to leave this wretched world. He says, وَإِنِّي لَا أَرَى الْمَوْتِ إِلَّا سَعَادَةً وَلَا الْحَيَاةِ وَالْحَيَاةِ مَعَ الظَّالِمِينَ إِلَّا بَرَامًا. He says, I don't see death except that it is happiness for me. And that the life with the oppressors, with the tyrants here, is only a bitterness to have to live here. He says, إِنَّ النَّاسَ عَبِيدَ الدُّنْيَا وَالدِّينُ لَعِقٌ عَلَىٰ أَلْسِنَتِهِمْ. He says, people are the slaves of the life of this world. These words of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, everybody knows them. Non-Muslims quote them. الناس عبيد الدنيا والدين لعق على ألسنتهم يدورونه حيث ما درت معايشهم. They move it around in their mouth. It's like the spit on their tongues. They move it around wherever they want. The religion is just a saliva in their mouth. They move it around wherever it is their need. وَإِذَا مُحِّصُوا بِالْبَلَاءِ قَلَّ الدَّيَّانُونَ. The minute you get tried and tested, the true people of religion will be very few. Subhanallah. Look how he addresses and how he reminds his own Shia that you are not slaves. You are not slaves in any way, shape, or form. And to be somebody who is free in the eyes of Allah, you have to be the slave of Allah only, and not the slave of anything else, anyone else. That, it comes from seeing the truth, my dears. I've been telling you this. It comes from knowledge, it comes from understanding, from seeing the truth. These signs, all of these ayat I've been mentioning, and so many more, the Holy Quran, they came to the people of Hijaz when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam came. And look how Quran describes those people who deny. It says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَكْتِمُونَ مَا أَنزَلْنَا مِنَ الْبَيِّنَاتِ وَالْهُدَى. Those people who hide the bayinat. Bayinat is a clear proof. It's the truth that is so clear, nobody can deny it. Those people who deny it and the guidance, مِن بَعْدِ مَا بَيَّنَّاهُ لِلنَّاسِ فِي الْكِتَابِ. After we have already made it clear in the books that this is the truth, أُولَٰئِكَ يَلْعَنُهُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَلْعَنُهُمُ اللَّاعِنُونَ. Look at the fate of these people, those who deny. Allah will put His la'na on them. He will curse them. And not only will Allah curse them, the la'inun, the people who are worthy of cursing, they will also curse them. Subhanallah. Just by denying the truth. And you see that when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam came to Medina after the hijrah, one of the groups of the people who he had talked to were the Jewish tribes that were there. And when the companions came and they said to the Jewish tribes, look, your books have evidence that a prophet is going to come. And it points to the fact that this prophet will be the seal of Allah's messengers. And he will seal the religions for all of time. Do you know what they did? Many of them. They hid it. They knew it was the truth, but they refused to accept it. There were some amongst them. There was Abdullah ibn Salam, who was one of the rabbis of Medina. He converted after he had a long conversation with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. And that's why you see, what does the ayah say? لم يكن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب والمشركين منفكين حتى تأتيهم البينة. Surah Al-Bayyinah. What does it say? That those people who denied, and it says the ones who did kufr from Ahl al-Kitab. It calls the people of Ahl al-Kitab who denied kafir, or the ones who acted with kufr, and the mushrikeen, the ones who are doing association with Allah, that they will not leave their old ways. They will not follow the truth until the bayyinah comes to them. And yet even then, those tribes refused to accept Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, even though the clear truth came in front of them. Now I want you to keep this in your minds right now. I will come back to it at the end, inshallah. Yes? So why? Why the distortion? When you know the truth, when the truth has been proven to you, when it's front of your eyes, why do you deny it? My dears, we don't do it. We don't. We see the truth. Many a times we see the truth, we don't accept it. We don't accept the truth the way we should accept it. We don't act on the truth the way we are supposed to act upon it. We are prone to this. We cannot say that I am a believer, I pray my 5-time prayers, I do everything, that I have accepted the truth, 100% I am on the path of truth. If that was the case, what would happen? My dears, why is a ma'soom a ma'soom? Has anyone ever asked that question? When someone says, you Shia believe that the Anbiya and Mursaleen, the A'imma al-Athhar, Fatima al-Zahra alayha salatu wassalam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. that they are ma'soom, why are they ma'soom? What answer will we give? Our young children, they will meet one of their brothers and sisters from the Ahl Sunnah who will say, you say they're ma'soom, how is that possible? What does that mean, that they're ma'soom? You will say, they don't commit any sins. How? How does this happen? How does this happen? Your only answer will be, it's a grace of Allah. Yes? Allah has made them this way. But is that a sufficient answer? Is it? It is sufficient to some degree, because indeed it is the grace of Allah that He has chosen some people. But why? What is the mechanism by which they are ma'soom? My dear, ilm and ma'rifah, knowledge and understanding. Their knowledge and understanding of God is so perfect that they refuse to obey the shaitan. Their knowledge is so complete, their application of that knowledge, how to use it, where to use it, in what capacity is so perfect that their mind will not allow them to disobey Allah. That is isma. It is your mind telling you not to do something wrong. So which means what? Logically speaking, that if we are committing wrong, what's missing? Either we don't have knowledge, or we don't have understanding, yes? Or we have a lot of knowledge and understanding, but what? Our willpower is not strong enough. Something else is weak. And you see that this is insan's nature. Insan is built this way, unfortunately. I'm going to say something very strange, and you're going to say, he's crazy. He's saying things that are crazy now from the mimbar. But hopefully I will prove it to you, inshallah. You know, many a times, your thoughts, our thoughts, not just you, me included, every human being, our thoughts are not based on facts. Do you know that? Many times, our thoughts, the thoughts that are running through you're probably thinking that right now, yes? You're looking at me, and you're saying, this guy's crazy. That's factual, though, actually. I'll give you credit for that, yes? I am maybe a little crazy. So, your thoughts are not based on facts. You'll say, well, how's that possible? I read a nice story, let me tell you. There's a fictitious town, okay? There's a farmer in this town. He farms his land with an ox. He's got an ox. He puts a plow on the ox. He runs it through the land. One day, the oxen dies. It dies. So he's now worried. He's got a family. He's got a son, young son. He's got to feed them. This is the only source of livelihood. In his little village, there is a wise man, a sage. He goes to him. He says, I've come to tell you some bad news, that my ox died. Now I can't plow my land. I can't grow my crops. There's no way for me to earn money, to feed my family, etc. This is the worst thing that could possibly happen to me. The wise man looks at him. He says one thing only. He says, maybe yes, maybe no. The farmer goes, he's like, this guy is crazy. This sage is crazy. What do you mean, maybe yes, maybe no? It is the worst thing that could have happened to me. He comes, as he's going home, there is an empty land that belongs to nobody. He sees there's a wild horse there, eating, grazing away. Wild, wild horse. He goes, nobody owns it. It doesn't belong to anyone. He grabs it. He's able to tame it. He takes it home. He says, I don't have an ox. Let me see if this horse will work. The horse will plow. He attaches the plow to the horse. What does he find? That the horse is doing a better job than the ox. It plows the earth even better, even more beautifully. So that day, that same day, he goes back to the wise man. He says, you know what happened? Something amazing. He says, I lost that ox. I thought it was a calamity, but now I found this horse, and the horse is better than the ox. This is the best thing that could happen to me. There's nothing better than this that could happen to me. I thought I was doomed. I got an even better option now. The sage looks at him. He says, maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe yes, maybe no. The guy again leaves. He says, this guy, who has called him a sage? Who made him the wise man? Maybe yes, maybe no. He goes home. He comes. He sees his son lying on the ground, and he's hurt. He can't move. So he calls his wife. He says to the wife, what happened? She says, while you were away, our son got on top of that horse. He couldn't control him because he was wild. He fell. He broke his leg. He broke his leg. Now what do we do? Now what do we do? He says, oh, this is even bigger calamity because our son used to help me in the farm, plowing the land, helping me out, earning money and getting food for the family. He goes back to the sage. Now, who's the crazy one? He keeps going back to the sage after saying that this sage has no wisdom inside of him. He says to the sage, look what happened. This is the worst thing. My son now has a broken leg because of this. What does the sage say to him? Maybe yes, maybe no. As he goes back home, again thinking to himself, this sage doesn't know what he's talking about. He sees that there are soldiers walking through the village. They're grabbing every young man to enlist them in the war that is going to take place. They come to the farmer's house. They see the son sitting there, but with a broken leg. And they say, we cannot take your son because he has a broken leg. The farmer says, yes, maybe no. This is us, no? Facts happen. Facts are facts. You can't change reality. But what changes is your mind. The way your mind processes information is very, very peculiar. That's why you see that those people who have true insight, who have basira, who have deep vision, who can see through things, they understand the world the way it actually is. They're not influenced by other things. And I've already mentioned that to you on a previous night, that the clarity of that vision, that basira, is extremely important. Now, insan is very strange. Insan is very prone to molding his or her mind based on what is absolutely the peak or climax of something that happens, okay? God forbid, may Allah not allow it to happen, you experience a tragedy or some calamity. And after that calamity, everything starts to wind down and resolve slowly. What part of that calamity will you remember the most? The worst part, no? You will remember the worst part. Moreover, go look at marketing today. In marketing, what do they tell you? They say to you that the best way to capture your audience not only is to give them a gimmick, but that the very last thing that they look at, make sure it catches in their mind. It's insan's nature that the very last thing, you will remember it more strongly than anything else. It will stick in your mind. This is how we are. We will filter out everything else in the beginning. Now, in addition to that, we are repetitive. So let me ask you, the first time, I don't know if you can remember, the first time you did wudu, do you remember how you did it when your teacher taught you? You did it very carefully, right? Super careful. You washed, you made sure every part of the body is covered with water, damp, etc. Everything is taken care of, yes? After 10 years of doing wudu, is your wudu the same as it was the first day? Is it? No, yes, it's automatic, right? It's autopilot. Why? Because repetition in the mind does what? It rewires your mind. Your mind wants to conserve energy. It doesn't want to think about things. So the more you do it over and over, what happens? You stop thinking about it. It's gone. Yes? And the older you get, what happens? Subhanallah. Imagine 40, 50, 60, 70 years of doing the same thing over and over. What has happened to the wiring of your brain? Now, wal-ayadhu billah, what if you learned it the wrong way for the first time? Or you learned some principle that was wrong from the beginning? What do? And you've been repeating it, and it has rewired your brain to think something incorrect. My dears, your brain is this way. Your brain is prone to these sorts of things. It changes in shape, and I will explain this inshallah in the next few nights. It is stacked. It is extremely stacked. Why is it stacked? Because any piece of information you get that stays in your brain, if you get new information, where is it going to go? You're going to remove that other old piece of information? No, you will put it on top of it, right? You cannot erase it. You can't erase what has already been formed in your mind, right? Even if it is wrong. Let's say I was doing wudu incorrectly, and I finally learned the new way of doing it. The new way of doing it is going to erase it from my mind? It's not going to erase it from my mind. The wrong way will still be in my mind. It's just I've chosen to do the right way, correct? The wrong way is still in my mind, so I can be conscious of it. Now imagine it stays there and it affects the way I still act. I'm giving you a simple example, but apply it to your daily life. Understand that this is how the human mind is. Now, not only the human mind, but the body. I had a wonderful conversation with Dr. Qayyumi today, from whom I've learned so much, mashallah, and I continue to learn. Your bodies are not disconnected from your brains. And we as a community must do a much better job taking care of our bodies. What you eat is so important. Let me tell you about a study. Do you think, I'm going to ask, it's going to be like a poll, survey. You think your stomachs are connected to your minds, to your brains? Yeah, the young people are saying yes, the old people are saying no. Definitely not. Me, my stomach is not connected to my brain at all. Because if that was the case, I will never be able to eat gulab jamun, I will never be able to eat all the things I like to eat, yes? It is connected. Not only is it connected with the nervous system and all the other things that happen inside, but do you know inside of your bellies, your intestines, you've got microbes, okay? You've got bacteria, you've got other things that are living in there. They've been living in there since your first day on earth. Well, maybe second day, third day, okay? Those things, they change, they have an effect on how your brain functions. So they did a study where they took two groups of people. One group, who they called them healthy people, who are resilient, who are able to withstand stress and difficulty and challenges in life, and the other one who they called low resilience. People who are not so healthy. You know what they used as the metric? Body mass index. Body mass index means how big you are, basically. Let's keep it simple. So those who are unhealthy, they were considered to be low resilience. Those who were healthy, had good body mass, etc., they were considered high resilience. What did they find? They found that the people who had high resilience, they had certain types of bugs inside of their intestines. I call it bugs, but it sounds very primitive. Bacteria, etc., microbes. It's what's called the microbiome. The microbiome was very different from the ones who were low resilience or unhealthy. Moreover, they found, and this was published in Nature, so this is not some small journal that it was being published in, they found that the ones who were healthy, they were healthy because of their diet, because of exercise, because of everything that they were doing. Not only were they healthy, they found that those microbes that are in here were actually helping their minds. How? By decreasing depression, decreasing anxiety, enabling them to withstand stress of life from what they eat and how their gut is. Why do you think Islam emphasizes what we eat? Give me one hadith where it says eat nihari. Does it? Biryani. You guys will never call me again, right? That's okay. I will say anything I have to say, inshallah. It doesn't say eat nihari. It doesn't say eat biryani. It doesn't say have this much tail on top of your korma when you're eating. No. Eat, eat. No one is saying don't eat. But recognize that it has an impact on your physical health, but not only your physical health, but your mind as well, my dears. Your mind. Why are you flying in the sky in the month of Ramadan? Why do you fly spiritually? Because your stomach is empty. And we think that because it is halal, you're allowed. Because it is halal, you can eat whatever you want. Indeed, it is halal. Eat, eat. No one is saying not to eat, but eat in measure and know that it affects you. It will have small impacts on the way you think and the way you see and the way you perceive the world. And indeed, your resistance to stress. Control, be in control, don't be a slave. That's all I'm saying. Do not be a slave to anything. Because once you become a slave, your mind will change. Believe me, your mind will change. I'll give you one example. Take the example of the Bani Israel. The example of the Bani Israel, that they were faced with three very important challenges in front of them. Three motivating forces or forces that shaped the way they think. One, Fir'aun. Fir'aun, you all know, he was a tyrant. He used power, authority, threat, violence, whatever it was, to shape the mind of those people. The Bani Israel were afraid, were they not? They were afraid of Fir'aun. Salawat ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Please move forward because everyone now, you'll be sitting in the doorway now, inshallah. Please come a little forward, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. Santo, Santo. Thank you. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. So what did Fir'aun do? Fir'aun oppressed the Bani Israel so much that they did not have freedom of thought. Yes? So we don't want that. We do not want to be of those people who have no freedom of thought. We don't want to be somebody who has been crushed so much that we cannot think. And for us, alhamdulillah, we live in a free society, so it's probably not even a concern that this is going to happen. But remember that anyone you enslave yourself to, anyone who you say, this is the only source for me, they're going to control the way you think. And they're going to shape how you act with respect to that. It doesn't have to be a tyrant or an oppressor like Fir'aun. It could be any system that is changing your mind. So he was one, Fir'aun. The second is Qarun. Qarun's example, he wasn't oppressive, but his example was there in front of Bani Israel, was it not? And he comes, he is pompously dressed, he is somebody who has been gifted by Allah, has been given some amount of knowledge or maybe understanding, as the hadith report. And you can see that Qarun was even warned. The Quran talks that there were some who warned him. And the ayah, what does it say? It says, وَابْتَغِي مَا آتَاكَ اللَّهُ الدَّارَ الْآخِرَةَ وَلَا تَنْسَى نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. It says, go and seek what is in the next world for you. Seek what is in the next world, what is in the akhirah. Keep your eye far onto that last destination. But don't forget about what Allah has meant for you here. Your nasib is here also. Something has been given to you. And this is a great lesson for our children, my dears, to teach them that live in this world, work hard, achieve as best as you can achieve. But the eye must first be on the akhirah. That's why the ayah says what? Keep your eye on the akhirah first, but then don't forget the dunya. It doesn't say earn in the dunya, then think about the akhirah. No, think about the akhirah first, dunya second. Don't forget that the dunya is here. And don't seek corruption. The ayah is very clear. Qarun, what does he do? He becomes pompous. قَالَ إِنَّمَا أُوتِيتُهُ. He says, I have been given this. I have been given knowledge, and this is my knowledge that has allowed me to get to this place. I am the one who has been shining, and I am the one who has attained to this position, so my knowledge has allowed me to get to this place. My dears, this warning to us is extremely important. Why? Because anything that Allah has given, what did I say to you yesterday, is a loan. And it has a guarantee on it that you have to pay eventually. Do you not think knowledge is that way? And that's why zakat al-ilm nashroh. The zakat of knowledge is what? To spread it. And I even said this to you yesterday, that when the man asked Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam that what are the ranks of knowledge? In the very end, what does he say? You must embody that knowledge that you have learned. You must live it. If you don't, then there is no way for you to share it, because sharing it is eventually obligatory upon you. So you must do so. So do not allow knowledge to corrupt you, because knowledge can corrupt. Knowledge can lead you in the wrong direction, and it can take away from your vision. It can take away from what you can actually see in the life of this world and the fulfillment of your responsibility. Finally, the last one who was a challenge to Bani Israel, or created a challenge or difficulty for them, was Samiri. Samiri. Look at Samiri now. Now, he wasn't violent. He wasn't necessarily pompous. He wasn't somebody who was walking around like a king. But what did he do? He distorted the truth, no? He took the truth, and not only did he distort the truth, but he innovated something that shouldn't have been there. He created something new that he had no license to create. Now imagine that you are a simple-minded person who buys into this thing. Moreover, God forbid you are of the people who innovates something and adds it to the religion. That's why, what do you think, what did Al-Imam As-Sadiq alayhi salatu was-salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. What did the Imam say to Abu Hanifa? He says, I hear you give fatwas He says, do you give it of your opinion, or are you giving from Quran? He says, some from Quran, some from my opinion. Imam Sadiq, I won't go through the long riwayah, he asks him one question. He says, are you sharik with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam in the Risala? You are a partner with Rasulullah in his message? Abu Hanifa, he says, no, I am not. Then on what basis are you giving the fatwa or the ruling based on your own opinion? My dears, the minute we apply our own thinking, our own understanding, our own version of deen, what have we done? We have acted like Samiri. Have we not? We have innovated something we should not have innovated. We added something should not have been added. What does that do to our thinking? It changes our thinking. It's another layer added on top of our mind that shapes the way we act. And you see what it does. Why? Because there's no foundation. There's no basis for this. So let me tell you about a man named Al-Kharit Ibn Rashid Al-Naji. Al-Kharit, he is one of the soldiers of Imam Ali alayhi salatu wassalam in the Battle of Siffin. Yes? He is with Imam Ali alayhi salatu wassalam. Prior to that, he had been appointed by Uthman, some say by Uthman, some say by Imam Ali alayhi salam, to be the governor of Ahwaz. Ahwaz, which is the city in Iran on the border of Iraq. So he is put there as a governor. I'm bringing you all these strange names, these names maybe you've never heard of. Remember this name. Al-Kharit is made the governor. When the time for Siffin comes, he's standing in the ranks of Imam Ali's army, fighting against Muawiyah. You know the fighting stops. Imam Ali alayhi salatu wassalam, he says there's no option now. They have said we have to have arbitration. And you know that Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, he comes forward. And he is given the position to act on behalf of Imam Ali alayhi salam's side with Muawiyah. They say this whole process of arbitration, Al-Kharit doesn't like. He's very angry by this. And he blames Imam Ali alayhi salam, and hence becomes what? One of the Khawarij. The Khawarij were not one group, my dears. There were many groups. They were just people who were called Khawarij. Why? Because they disagreed with Imam Ali on arbitration, and now basically essentially said, no, we are not following the rule of man. So this man, Al-Kharit ibn Rashid al-Naji, he's from the Najiyya tribe. He says, I am not going to follow you anymore, Amir al-Mu'mineen. He goes to Imam Ali, he says, you have done wrong, I will not follow you. I'm not going to follow you. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, sit with me. Let me explain to you why it is that this has happened. He says, no. It's strange, no? That he's in the army of Imam Ali, in Siffin, just like so many others were, and what happens to him? How quickly his mind has switched. Suddenly, this man Al-Kharit, what does he do? Imam Ali calls him to come sit with him, he refuses. He leaves. He goes up towards Ahwaz. He starts to return back up to Ahwaz. They say he becomes an extremist. One day somebody comes in front of him and his soldiers are there, men who are of his liking. A man comes in front of him. He asks this man, he says, what do you think about Ali ibn Abi Talib? The man, he says, that is Amir al-Mu'mineen. He is the inheritor of Rasulullah. He is the door to the knowledge of the city of knowledge, etc. He praises Imam Ali. They say, Kharit and his men, they take out their swords and they kill him. They kill him. We are not seeing this in Parachinar today. This is not new, my dears. This was happening under Daesh. That those who had the Shi'i names were being killed. Those who said, we love Ali, they were being killed. This was happening back then. Back then it was happening. When Imam Ali alayhi salam finds out about this, he sends one of his companions, Ma'qil, to go deal with this. In the beginning, they have a skirmish. They fight, they cannot defeat each other. So they retreat, both groups retreat. This man, Al-Kharit, the history says, and even the Ahl Sunnah, they describe this in their history, same as ours, that this man goes and whatever anyone wants to hear, he tells them to bring them into his group. So the ones who come forward and they say, Uthman was killed unjustly, the killers of Uthman are free, they've not been brought to justice. This man says, you're right, we will avenge the death of Uthman. They will join his group. Christians are coming, he would bring Christians into his group. Even Christians, he was able to sway them to come into his group. Another way in which he was able to sway people is some people came to him. Remember, he was governor of Ahwaz. He had some position. They came to him and they said, look, we have to pay zakat. We have to pay religious dues. It's due on us, but we need the money. We need the money. You know what he says? He says, keep your money. Don't pay it. Don't pay the religious due. Hold on to it for your children, for the benefit of your children. Allah will forgive you. They joined his group. You see this? How he twisted the minds of people. Long story short, eventually, Ma'qil meets him and they kill him. But look at this man who starts on the side of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib and where he ends up. Dissuading, deluding, confusing people, all why? Because he has some purpose in life that he has to achieve. My dears, you don't think he knew who Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam was? He doesn't know what the Quran is. He doesn't know what is responsible on him. It is hard to believe a man of that stature is ignorant. He's not ignorant. He knows, but his mind is twisted. So the question becomes, what's our responsibility? And let's come to this now. What is our responsibility? Once you have insight, once you know, once you call yourself the Shia of Ahl al-Bayt, you have responsibility. Every one of us. Not just if you wear amama on your head. Please, don't think you are absolved of responsibility. Nobody is. We all have responsibility. Why? My dears, because of three things. Three things I'm going to mention to you, and I will simplify it this way. This is by no means a comprehensive discussion on this. One is ownership. The owner, who is Allah. Allah owns everything. He makes you the owner of something. What do you think is going to happen? He will place responsibility on your shoulders. No? Immediately. He will give you money. He will say in his generosity, you spend out of that money, but if some of it is left over, what do you have to pay? Khums. You have responsibility. The more you see that, the more Allah has given you ownership, the more you recognize Allah's ownership and the responsibility on your shoulder. That's the first thing, ownership. The second thing is proportionality. My dears, proportionality is the one that is hard for us. Allah has given, He has provided for us not only material possession, but rights in society. This one is the hard one. I have the right in my society, in the community in which I live, to get an education, isn't it? Is that right or not? It is. It's my right to get educated. It's the right of my son, my daughter, to go and get educated. So they go. Because I'm well off, because I'm a professor, I'm this, I'm that, I have access, I get them education. They go to the best schools, they go to college, they get a degree, they go to medical school, they go to graduate school, they go to law school, they go wherever, they are set on their feet. I sit back, I put my leg up on the couch, and I say, my job is done. Is it done? It is absolutely not done. Because the minute I took that right of getting educated, getting my children educated, availing myself of that opportunity, the proportional response is that somebody else also deserves it. Somebody else is deserving of that. What do? We say, no, let me give $1,000. Give $1,000. Give $1 million. But that's not enough. Go out and find somebody who needs an education, who can't get educated, and help them get educated. No? This is the responsibility on us. But what has happened? I have become blinded by the fact that I took my right. It was halal. It was acceptable to me. And I forgot what came next. What came next is to give the right to somebody else to get educated. No? Proportionality. It has to be. And we have to ask ourselves this very question, that if I consume, whether it is material or immaterial, education or something else, the minute I consumed, the question in my mind should be, who else has a right in this? And have I done my job? Because I will be asked. We will be asked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second thing, the last thing, the third thing is requital. What does this mean? Let me give you one ayah. And before the ayah, let me say it this way. If I do a good deed, yes, am I not expecting the reward from Allah? Forget about that. Let's say I'm in the house and my wife is working, and without her telling me, that's the key. She didn't tell me. I went and I washed the dishes, I did the laundry, I vacuumed, I swept, I did everything, you know? Like I was on my hands and knees and I'm cleaning. Will you guys believe that I actually did that? Probably not. I did all those things, yes. I did it. She comes home from work, she looks around, she acts like nothing happened. That's probably because she's doing it every day and she's like, what do you want, an award? Want a prize? She doesn't even say thank you. What do you think I'm thinking? I'm annoyed, no? I'm saying at least give it back to me. At least say thank you. Make me a cup of chai or something. No? I'm looking for requital. I've done something. That's human nature that we expect. And that's why even Allah says, I know your nature. He says, in tansurullah yansurkum. If you support, stand for Allah's message, He will stand for you. وَيُثَبِّتْ أَقْدَامَكُمْ. He will make your legs firm. Now ask yourselves the question that if Allah is not coming to our nusra, not coming to our support, who's to blame? Who's to blame? We are to blame. We haven't done what we're supposed to do. We expect, we have not done what we're supposed to do. This is why our vision is very poor. Because it's always on somebody else, not on myself. It's always on what is being done for me and not what I have done for somebody else. That's why you see Al-Imam Abi Abdullah Al-Husayn alayhi salatu wassalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Now let me go back to that ayah, yes? In which I told you that لم يكن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب والمشركين منفكين حتى تأتيهم البينة. Those who are done kufr from the Ahl al-Kitab, the mushrikeen, they will not leave their old ways, their devious ways, their deceived ways until the bayyinah comes to them, the clear sign. They say one day, Al-Imam Al-Kadhim alayhi salatu wassalam bi abi wa ummi salli ala Muhammad wa ala. He comes into the presence of Harun al-Rashid. Harun al-Rashid, he looks at Imam Kadhim, he says, Ya Abul Hasan, how do you see this place that you have come into? They acted like kings. They acted like they were supreme and forgot the fact that when they go into the ground, even the worms will eat them up. They will become dirt like everything and everyone else. He says, how do you see this place? Imam Al-Kadhim alayhi salatu wassalam, he says, I see it as a house of corruption. I see it as a house of corruption. And then he quotes this ayah. لم يكن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب والمشركين منفكين حتى تأتيهم البينة. The sign came even to them, even to the Jews of Medina and the disbelievers, and they would not believe it. They refused to believe it, even though it was a clear sign in front of them. So Harun al-Rashid, he says, Ya Abul Hasan, are you saying that we are kafir? Is that what you're alluding to by quoting this ayah? Imam Al-Kadhim alayhi salatu wassalam, it's reported, he says, no. He says, no. He says, but you are deceived. And not only are you deceived, but you are deceiving everyone else who is following you. You are misguided and you have gone on the wrong path and you are doing the same to everybody else. They say Harun al-Rashid became very angry with this answer. Look, even when the sign came in front, they didn't accept it. That's why Al-Imam Al-Husayn, Al-Imam Abi Abdullah Al-Husayn, when he stood in front of them, he gave them proof after proof after proof after proof, saying, Alastu ibn binti nabiyyikum? Am I not the son of the daughter of your Rasul, of your Nabi? Is there any other grandson of Rasul in the world other than me today? They have no answer to this. And that's why you see the pain of the people of Medina, some of them when he left Medina. So much so that when the Hashimiyat, when the ladies of the Bani Hashim, they came to Imam Hussein when he was leaving, they said, we're not going to stop you from going. You have to go, you go. But do one thing for us. Leave behind your son Ali and Al-Akbar for us. Because every time we longed to see the face of Rasulullah, these are older ladies. They remember Rasulullah. We long for that face of our Rasul. We will look at Ali al-Akbar. But what answer does Imam Hussein give to them? That his path is with me, his fate is with me. He must join me. And that's why when they arrive into Karbala on the second day of Muharram, what happens? They say Imam Hussein alayhi salatu was salam istarja. He says, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And he says, this is the land, هذا أرض كرب وبلاء. This is the land of trial and difficulty that is going to come upon us. They say one person hears him. Abu al-Hasan, he comes forward. Ali al-Akbar, they called him Abu al-Hasan. He comes forward and he says, Ya Aba, alasna ala al-haq? Are we not on the truth, my father? Imam Hussein, he says, Bala ya bunay. We are, my son. Of course we are on the truth. He says, Idhan ya Aba la nubali wa nahnu ala al-haq. Or he says, Idhan la nubali wa namut wa nahnu ala al-haq. He says, if we are on the truth, my father, then it doesn't matter if we die, as long as we are on the truth. Imagine. When that day comes, that moment comes that Ali al-Akbar has to go out, what happens? He comes to his father. He says, Ya Aba, the companions have gone. One by one, they have given their lives. Now, allow me to go. Al-Imam al-Hussein, he holds his son, Darawi, he says, that he looks at him, he says, Ya Bunay, my son, I wish you had a son like yourself. So you will know what it feels to send him out. Darawi, he says, that as he is turning to go towards the battlefield, he feels someone is pulling on his clothes from behind. When he turns, he doesn't see any man standing there. He sees Sukaina bint al-Hussein pulling on the shirt, saying, Ya Akhi, Ya Ali, are you going to that same place that Habib ibn Madahir went? Are you going to that same place that Zuhair ibn al-Qayn went? Where nobody has come back alive? Ali al-Akbar, he hugs her. And he goes to the battlefield. Rawi says, Baraza ilayhim Ali al-Akbar. Ali al-Akbar went ferociously attacking the enemy from one side to the other, vanquishing them, killing their forces, until finally a man named Bikr ibn Ghanim, he comes in front of him. Bikr ibn Ghanim is a champion of the enemy soldiers. They say that Layla is watching from the tent. When she sees Bikr ibn Ghanim approach Ali al-Akbar, she raises her hand to the sky. She says, Ya Radda Yusuf ala Yaqub. Ya Radda Musa ila ummih. Rud alayya waladi Ali. Oh Allah, the one who brought Yusuf back to Yaqub. Oh Allah, who returned Musa back to his mother, bring back my son Ali to me. Ali al-Akbar, he defeats Bikr ibn Ghanim, making his way back to Al-Imam al-Hussein. It is as if Al-Imam al-Hussein, he says, Ilayya, Ilayya, ya bunay. إلي يا بني علي أشمك وتشمني وأشمك وتشمني وأودعك وتودعني. Come to me, Ali, return back even for a moment. Let me smell your fragrance. Let me smell the fragrance of my son. Imam Hussein had raised his hands in the sky. He said, Ashhad alayhim ya Rasulallah. فقد برز إليهم غلام أشبه الناس خلقا وخلقا ومنطقا برسولك. O Nabi Allah, bear witness that this young man who has gone to fight, bear witness that he resembles you most, Ya Rasulullah, in the way he looks, in the way he behaves, in everything. وَإِذَا كُنَّا اشْتَقْنَا إِلَيْكَ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ نَظَرْنَا إِلَى وَجْهِهِ. Whenever we missed you, Ya Rasulullah, we will look at the face of Ali al-Akbar. امنع عنهم بركات الأرض يا Allah. Deny them the blessings of the earth. فرقهم تفريقا ومزقهم تمزيقا. Send them in every direction, always going towards halak and perdition. Finally, Ali al-Akbar returns. The blood is seeping from the wounds on his body. He comes riding to his father, Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. He says, Ya Aba al-Atash, qad qatalani. My father, thirst has killed me. وثقل الحديد قد أجهدني. The heaviness of the armor has made me tired. يا أبا هل من شربة ماء من سبيل أتقوى بها على الأعداء. Is there one drink of water, my father, by which I can regain my strength, fight against the enemy soldiers? Al-Imam al-Hussein, he says, Ya bunay wathak Allah, qatil qalilan, فما أسرع أن ترى جدك رسول الله يسقيك بكأسه الأوفى شربة لا تظمأ بعدها أبدا. Go and fight only for a little longer, my son. Just a little longer fight. Very soon you will meet your grandfather, Rasulullah. He will give you the drink of water. You will never be thirsty again, Ya Ali. Ali al-Akbar races to the battlefield, fighting the enemy soldiers. They cannot defeat him, one from one side and from the other, until Shimr la'natullahi alayh. He says, don't you know that this is the grandson of Ali ibn Abi Talib? You cannot defeat him one at a time. Surround him from every side and strike him with their sword. The enemy soldiers come around Ali al-Akbar. وَضَرَبُوهُ بِأَسْيَافِهِمْ حتى قطعوه أربا. They struck him with their swords until they cut him to pieces. Falling from the horse, he said, Assalamu alayka ya Aba. My father, come to my rescue. Imam Hussein races out to the battlefield. فوقع على جسد علي الأكبر, falling on the body of Ali al-Akbar. They say he took the clothes from his body and wiped the blood from the face of Ali al-Akbar. He said, my son, Ya Ali, you are at the end. Ali al-Akbar. Now here, my dear brothers and sisters, the Rawi, he says, it is reported that he will look to the right side and he will smile. A smile will come on his face. Then suddenly he will turn his head to the left side and his smile will disappear and he will become very sad and in pain. Imam Hussein, he says, Ya Abul Hasan, Ya Ali, my son, Ya Bunay, أراك تنظر إلى اليمنى وتتبسم وتنظر إلى اليسرى وتحزن. I see you looking right and you become happy. I see you then turn your head to the left and become sad. What is happening? What do you see? Ali al-Akbar opens his eyes for the last time. He says, Ya Aba, إذا نظرت إلى اليمنى. If I look to the right, رأيت جدي رسول الله قد سقاني بكأسه الأوفى. My grandfather is on the right. He has come with the cup full of water to quench my thirst. ولكن إذا أنظر إلى اليسرى. If I look to the left, رأيت أمي فاطمة. Mother Fatima. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا على محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. يا